you got to realize that whatever you're doing, you're competing with somebody. What is it that gives you an advantage over your competition? Whatever you're good at, try to be great at it. And if you're great at it, good things will happen. Maverick.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Maverick. Before we dive in, I want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and comment. About 90% of you guys are not subscribed. What is up with that? We see you guys coming back, so please subscribe. It's that easy. It helps us with the algorithm. Today, we have a very special guest. We have the creator of the upscale men's clothing line, AlphaTraje, the one and only Cesar Reyes. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here today and just dive into more of what I do and whatever question you may have.
Definitely. For the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Definitely. Well, my name is Cesar Reyes. I am a Guatemalan living in Oklahoma City since 2011 now.
Awesome.
I went to Putnam City West. I graduated back in 2016. Then I went to OKC for business administration and management. I am married to Cesar Reyes. We're almost going to hit our 3rd year anniversary.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you, in January. And we have a beautiful son that's 2 years old. So I'm the creator of, like you were saying, AlphaTraje, outfit for first in class and first in position. Our mission is to redefine what it means to dress up with style and with elegance, with a touch up of significance in our Guatemalan culture.
Great. I definitely want to dive into AlphaTraje, but before we do, I want to rewind it back. Let's talk about Cesar growing up. Where did you grow up? What kind of kid were you? What kind of stuff were you into?
Definitely. Well, I grew up in the town Xela, that's how we call it in Guatemala, which is the second largest city in the whole country. I was blessed enough to attend a Christian private school.
Okay.
So I remember walking from my house to this school every morning, especially when in Oklahoma City it's foggy in the morning.
Yeah.
It just throws me back to those memories when I was a kid walking to school.
Because of the elevation? Or
Not only that, but also the temperature.
Okay.
So you can say that the weather in Xela is almost unpredictable as it is in Oklahoma. The only thing is that we do not have snow or tornadoes.
Okay, that's a good thing.
But so I went to this school. I was educated in a really conservative and Christian house as well. My mom dedicated her life to raise me up and just plant those seeds that now you guys can see that they have popped up. Perfect. So I own it all to my parents that gave me the education, and they really put in the effort. I always tell my siblings, well, you guys missed out because I was the one that got all the good things.
Is that because you were the younger one, or what?
I'm the oldest one, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Usually it's the other way around. Usually the younger, they get the little bit better school, better house, or whatever. Right?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the case with us just because my parents immigrated to Oklahoma back in 2009.
Okay.
So my siblings were younger, and therefore we were not with our parents for almost 3 years. It was 2 years and 9 months, I remember exactly, until we had the privilege to reunite again back in 2011 here in Oklahoma.
That would be difficult. Tell me about that. Like, how did it happen, and where did you stay? What were you thinking at the time?
Yeah, well, I gotta be honest. It was really difficult. It was a really difficult time just because I was the kid that always had everything done for him.
Okay.
So my mom, just
She spoiled you?
yeah, she spoiled me way
Yeah.
too much to the point that whenever they decided to take that trip up to the north, we stayed at grandma's house. I remember. So it was really difficult to accustom to a new home.
Yeah. How old were you?
I was 14 when that
14.
happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was in 8th grade. I think, yes, I was in 8th grade. And it was just a difficult time. It was definitely exciting because, we will have more income, but we were not having our parents with us to raise us. So I had to, and I put it this way, I had to break that egg,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be going to the store or to the mall by myself. And so whenever my parents came, I was like, okay, so what do I do now?
Yeah.
So I had to learn it all, and just to break that egg. That's how I see it. That's how
What
I
was
picture it.
their promise? Did they say, we're going to go and we'll be back in a couple of months, in a year? What was that promise that they made?
The plan was for them to come here for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then eventually raise enough money to build, your house dream and hopefully open a business and then just live off of it. But everything was not as planned. We had to come to the United States for our own security. It's a lot of politics involved, a lot of definitely not a safe place to be at.
Yep.
So we just decided to come and reunite with my parents back in 2011.
I see. Did you get in trouble when you were alone and they left to the U.S., or were you still, a good kid at the time?
I gotta be honest. Like I said, I just snitched school one time.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was in a 10th year frame. Only one time.
That's pretty good. I would
Right?
think, hey, if I know my parents are in a different country,
yeah.
I don't know, that's a lot of liberty. I might have some fun,
Definitely. But you know what? I didn't plan it at all. I didn't plan it. I was walking to school, I remember, and I was like, well, I don't have to go, right?
Who's going to tell you?
Who's going to know? But it wasn't as fun because I was all alone. So I ended up at a different, little town. And then, believe it or not, I ran out of cash. So I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? I don't want to walk all of 1 or 2 hours.
Right.
So this is embarrassing, but I ended up asking for money to one of the local vendors that were around that little
to get
town
a ride back?
to get to be able to get into public transportation and get a ride back home.
Wow. Okay. All right. So what was the dream? You were there going to school, doing your own thing. If I would have asked you, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? What would have been the answer to that?
Definitely. Well, I actually had it all planned. I thought I was in school to be a teacher already.
Okay.
That was back in 2011. So the school year starts in January in Guatemala and it ends in November. So I went and attended first semester to be a teacher. But then after a couple of incidents that put our security at risk, then we just decided to come to the U.S. But my whole goal was to be a teacher.
Okay.
And eventually be a principal. That's what I wanted to do.
Awesome. So then you had to come to the U.S. and then you start as a freshman in high school, or where did you pick up here?
Yeah. So I started as a freshman at Putnam City West in January of 2012.
Did you know English, or were you fresh to the English, or what?
Well, they gave us English classes, but they will just teach you the basics.
Sure.
But it got me through.
Awesome.
Because I got to skip first semester of ESL 1.
Okay.
And
cool.
then I told the teacher, so what do I have to do if I want to move up to level 2? And she goes like, oh, you wanna move to level 2? I was like, yeah, I want to move up. And then she's like, okay, I just have to give you the chapters and the book to study. And I was so excited. And she's like, I gotta warn you, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then next day I show up and she gives me a stack of papers like this thick.
Yeah.
And she goes, good luck.
Nice. Did you take it as a challenge? Like I could do it, or what happened at that point?
I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
So I looked at it right away. And it wasn't like a book that will give you English and then Spanish translation for the instructions. No, it was just pure English.
Okay.
And then I started asking around. The chapter 1 was, hi, how are you?
Nice.
And you had to record or to write down what the answer was. So
Okay.
it will say, ask 7 people around you and tell them, hi, my name is Cesar. And so I will do that. And I took it as a challenge. I skipped ESL. I went to ESL 2 and then I skipped ESL 3. And then last I did ESL 4.
That's awesome that you did that. I guess you weren't intimidated. You weren't shy. You were like, hey, I'm going to take this challenge. I'm going to go say hi to all these people that I don't know.
Definitely. And
cool.
then our teacher told us, if you guys want to really pick up English, you need to hang out with people that do not speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. And she jokingly says, and you can also date someone that doesn't speak Spanish. So in high school, I dated a couple of girls that didn't speak any Spanish.
It's all just to learn, right? It's for educational purposes only.
Educational purposes only.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's how it went. Lastly, in my senior year, I got to run for president of our Latino club.
Okay.
It was La Raza Club. And so you had to run. So I went around and I talked to the newcomers. And I told them, hey, I'm running for president. You should vote for me. You just have to join the club. And we do this, we do that. I remember I will also put like posters around about me in the high school hallways. And I got to be elected the president for that Latino club on my senior year.
That's awesome. So overall, you had a pretty positive experience. Or when you first got there, were the kids mean to you at all? Or were they kind of, welcoming or what?
Everything was welcoming in a sense that I will feel secure and I will feel in a safe environment. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will just give me confused faces when I will talk to them in English just because, and to today, I still have an accent, I guess. So sentence by sentence or word by word that I will learn every single day, I'll just put it to practice.
Okay.
And then I will just make up a sentence, and sometimes I wouldn't make sense, but they were patient enough to understand me and also give me some feedback to get better at it.
That's awesome. So did we make it? Did we become president or what?
Yeah, I absolutely did.
That's very cool.
I won by 3 votes.
That's it.
It was a pretty tight competition.
Okay.
I won president of La Raza Club in 2016, and I was able to do the announcements in Spanish twice a week.
Okay.
And so the whole purpose of that was just to get more newcomers feel welcomed and also for them to know what was going on at that time. Because I remember my first weeks in school, I will listen to the intercom and I will hear every morning, the Pledge of Allegiance and then the announcements. And I will ask my my classmates, what are they saying?
It was like Charlie Brown. You just hear the...
Yeah. And they will look at me and they're like, you have to practice a lot to be able to understand them. And so, that little seed was just planted in me, I guess. And then when I ran for president, that was one of my goals to do the announcements in Spanish. So I got to do that twice a week, and it was pretty cool. And we also did an article of our newspaper in Spanish, too.
That's very cool. So you took all the steps and all the hurdles that you experienced, and you're like, I'm going to make it easier for future students to get on board. And
definitely.
Really cool.
Yeah, and I will also help the teacher around just for my classmates to understand what we were supposed to do. And it was a really cool experience of service.
Awesome. So you got to senior year. Do we still want to be a teacher at that point? Or what did you want to do?
No, I did not want to be a teacher. I'm not sure what I was thinking.
What happened?
I noticed what the I will say like the business model was here in the United States, and so I was also already a manager at a fast food restaurant.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I think I like what I see. I like what I do. So I want to go to school to obtain the knowledge that will get me there. And for so long, I was just so scared to start business of myself.
Yeah.
But I went to school. I learned about how to basically manage people from different backgrounds and just the business model. But just because of what I was already doing.
That's very cool. What sort of attracted you to being an entrepreneur? Was it just like the challenge again, or you wanting to be a leader? Like what was it that attracted you to that?
Well, it's actually that's a great question because back in November of 2022, I went to sleep and I put my head on my pillow and I was like, I need to come up with something of my own.
Yeah.
And so I started to think about it. I'm not sure if you have ever experienced like you have an idea on your head and it's just like right there and you can't let it go away.
Every single night. That's me every night. And I have actually a problem falling asleep because I'm always thinking about ideas. I don't know if that happens to you.
Oh man, I have sleepless nights sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
So I was up the next morning and I was still thinking about it. And some days went by and I was like, I need to do it. And so I finally reached out to a consulting agency out in California. And I talked to them. I told them, listen, I have a platform of people on my Facebook account. I want to launch my own clothing store. I have an idea what I want, but I'm not sure if I want to do it.
Why clothing? Why did you gravitate clothing? There's so much competition. There's big luxury brands. It's a difficult space to compete in.
I wanted to put something of my own on my clothing, on my clothing piece.
Okay.
So with that being said, I did not want to just come up with a product that was not going to give any relevance to my culture. So what I decided to do is to first focus on the name. So with that, alpha means first in class and first in position.
Got it. I didn't know if it was alpha, like being an alpha, because it's alpha man, right? So I didn't know if it was related to that.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. Just a leader. So, and traje is just the Spanish word for outfit. So it's basically outfit for first in class and first in position. Now, what is different about me is the sense that I give to it. Every single color in our men's line is designed to make you stand out depending on the color of your skin.
Okay.
So we have 3 patterns as well. One of them stands out with the color red that in the Mayan culture represents the strength. And the other one that stands out is purple on the other design. And that in the Mayan culture, it stands out for royalty. So we have those designs. And man, I've had tremendous support of people that really want to embrace the strength and the royalty and just the richness that's within them. And every time that you walk into a room, people are going to notice.
Yeah, in a few seconds, they've already kind of judged you before you even spoke, right? Like you walk into a room and they've already kind of measured you up oftentimes.
Definitely.
Right?
And so our alpha clients, they tell us when I see them out there, they're like, oh man, I wore that shirt the other night for this event and people were asking me about it. And that just makes you feel like you're doing a good job.
Yeah, definitely. All your clothing is professional and nothing like relaxed or anything like that? Sportswear, it's all professional.
It's all formal and
Yeah.
for elegance
Okay.
looks. So we will probably come up with a piece of clothing in the future that's more like millennial or sports. But so far, what we have are the shirts, the wallets, and I will say the caps.
Okay.
That's the closest.
more casual. Yeah.
Yeah, to casual at the moment.
Yeah, because I would think now something that I notice in trends is even, if somebody's wearing a suit, oftentimes they wear like sneakers. They'll wear Nikes or something with their suits. So I think a lot of people aren't as used to getting dressed up for events. But I think maybe you should more often, right? What do you think about that?
Well, it just really depends on each person. I particularly do not like to wear sneakers with a whole suit.
Yeah.
Because depending on what kind of suit you're wearing.
True.
But if you're wearing a tie and the whole thing, I don't think it will.
Doesn't work?
No.
Why did you gravitate towards just men's clothing in specific? Just because you wanted to build like something, you said something that you would want to wear, or why was it just men specific?
It was because of that. I wanted to come up with my own clothing line that I was able to wear, that I was able to experience, just see how the fabric will feel to my skin, what people will say when I will wear it around, and just have that one-on-one connection with the real world.
Definitely. And what I'm noticing with your clothing, it doesn't have like a typical logo or wording or anything like that. So how do people like know that it's AlphaTraje? Is it always have that pattern, or what's sort of like the main consensus of the line there?
It's just the location of where the design is.
Okay.
And also the colors are very unique. These designs were made by me.
Awesome.
So they are very specific to our brand. And because whenever someone approaches a person that's wearing it, they tell them that it's an AlphaTraje shirt.
And I think that's going to ask a question, right? So it might be a good icebreaker. You wear this to an event. They're like, what do those colors mean? What does that patch mean? Right?
Exactly. And again, it's a pretty simple meaning. It's a strength, a richness, and royalty, the one that you're seeing right now.
Okay. So the colors change based on the different shirts, or is it always the same pattern?
We have two other patterns. One that's called Alpha Strength, because the red one is the one that stands out the most. And the third one is Alpha Royal, which the color that stands out the most is purple.
I see. What I always hear about influencers and people that have their own brand, the challenge is inventory, right? So gauging how much inventory you want to keep in stock. Mm-hmm. Some people try to do on demand. What type of model do you work with? Do you do by order, or do you have a big inventory that you're just ready?
I just have a big inventory because you never know. With all these different events that we go to, sometimes people miss out the opportunity to really get one of your products. And sometimes most of us, I will include myself in it, don't like to wait.
True.
Because it takes a long time to produce one of these shirts, between 5 and 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I like to have a pretty big inventory of what we have.
Got it. And it's a one-man show? It's just you, or do you have a team that helps you with everything?
We have a team that's dedicated to the different stages of the creation of one shirt. I don't think I could do it all by myself. No.
Do you also like to be hands-on? You mentioned that sometimes you go to events, you set up booths and stuff like that to like promote your brand, or what?
Definitely, yeah. We get a lot of invitations for different events out here in Oklahoma, and so I am the one that goes and does the setup. Sometimes my wife will just stay at one because I have to go to another one.
Really? Okay.
She's my number one supporter on that. We have had a couple of instances where our models also stay there, but it's been a very few times. But yeah, I have to make sure that everything is perfect the way that I want it to be, because that's the model that I want to follow for my entrepreneur business.
Definitely. And you have to protect your brand and your presence, right? So let's pretend I'm walking over to your booth. Give me your elevator pitch. Why should I buy AlphaTraje? What makes it different?
I will tell you that with an AlphaTraje shirt, you're not going to only embrace the alpha man that relies within you, but you're also going to contribute to our nonprofit organization that aims to help children in malnutrition and also support their education in Guatemala.
Oh, that's cool. So with every shirt or hat or whatever product you buy, a proceed goes to that?
That is correct. We have we have a designated percentage of our revenue monthly that goes to the nonprofit. As we are speaking, we are working on a project to build restrooms at a public school in Guatemala. So we're making an impact not only with the team that we have there, but also with the support that we get from every customer with our AlphaTraje.
Awesome. And so you can find them if you happen to run into an event and you're there, but I'm sure you can also go to a website if you want to order something, right?
Definitely. Yeah. You can order from anywhere in the United States. It's just alphatraje.com. Okay. We ship it to anywhere in the U.S., Alaska, even Hawaii.
Awesome. I'm also noticing that there's like a service aspect to you, right? That's kind of what I'm picking up, is that you also like to serve the community. You like to volunteer for events, stuff like that. Where does that come about?
Well, I've always liked to serve where I can. I like to equip others as well to be able to serve. But when it comes to the community, I take it very seriously, and I see it as an honor and as a privilege to do it. Just because I never picture myself doing everything that I've been able to do now.
Yeah.
But it all goes back to the heart of service. And that satisfaction, that personal satisfaction that you get out of serving. And I always say this wherever I go, I probably enjoy more my non-paid job, which is serving, than my 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably more enriching and more fulfilling, right?
Definitely. And so with that being said, I serve as the secretary at a nonprofit association here in Oklahoma. It's called Guatemaltecos in Oklahoma.
Awesome. Guatemaltecos in Oklahoma, they rep heavy. Like you guys, like everybody from Guatemala, super proud of Guatemala. You always see them at events. Right, they're super proud, right?
We are. We just like to promote our culture. We also like to help other people that have recently gotten here. It's just an honor to help to translate, even write a letter, or show somebody how to apply for a job.
Yeah, or even if they're missing Guatemala, they can go to some of these events and experience those traditions, experience, being around the people and stuff like that. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Definitely. We have music, we have traditional wear, we have a pageant as well.
Awesome.
So they are equipped to serve not only through beauty, but also through community service.
Yeah. You guys recently had like a big gala too, right?
Yeah,
Tell me about
right.
that. How did that come about? Who started the idea and what was the purpose behind it?
Definitely. So the whole idea about our gala was to honor the Guatemalan business owners and just entrepreneurs, artists and professionals in different areas in our state. We are a big part of our economy in the state of Oklahoma. So this dream was started a couple of decades ago, actually.
Really?
By our president and founder, Hilda de Leon.
Okay. Shout out to Hilda, yeah.
Yeah. So we got together with with the board and we just put a date and we started putting everything together. We were honored to, I was honored to be the MC at this gala, and we gave an award to Feria Latina, to Cafe Cacao.
One of my favorites. Cacao.
There you
Shout
go.
out to Luigi and his family. Right?
There you go. So
Yeah.
those were two of them. We also have Benvenuto Barrios, who has been, he's actually the first recorded Guatemalan to be in the state of Oklahoma.
No way.
He's
Okay.
been here, I think, 52 years.
Cool.
So he received an award for bringing the marimba to Oklahoma. That he has a music group that displays our one of our very own instruments of Guatemala. We also gave an award to Eduardo Barrios in the health field, and to Brenda, who is a teacher as well, and Carrie Fox, that has been a community ally. So different professionals, well, in different areas that are contributing in a very, very positive way to our state, and also paving the street for the ones to come.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also representing Guatemala, right? So how did you go about identifying who to nominate? Was it a group effort, or did you kind of just, scope out people's social medias, what they were involved in? How did you go about that?
So we had 7 different areas, and everyone will just start nominating. And once we put each one on the scale, we went to the ones that have been here the longest, and we actually look at their bio as well to see what they have accomplished.
But they didn't submit the nomination. You guys identified the people and then started the process?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes we reach out to them. Most of them, we have their bio, because at some point Hilda has asked them for it.
She knows everybody, right?
Yeah, she knows everybody. And so it makes the process easier. So once the nominations go in, we all cast our votes, and we decide who to give the award to.
That's awesome. So how did it go? This was the first time you guys did it. From the pictures, it looks like you had a big turnout. Everything was great, right? So how'd it go?
Yeah, well, we did have a great turnout. I remember that day was pouring.
Yeah.
And you could hear the rain through the roof.
Typical Oklahoma.
Yeah. But we had a great turnout. We had a great attendance as well. And it was a wonderful event. Everyone had fun, and it was just in a sense of elegance as well. So we achieved our goal that night.
Yeah, that's cool. And I imagine for them, the people that were nominating, that's super rewarding to be identified and sort of rewarded for doing, being a leader basically within the community, right?
Definitely. They were so happy. And, they go, we don't do it to be recognized.
Sure.
Because, like, for example, if you say Benvenuto Barrios, he didn't plan to be recognized back in 1970.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So they do it out of a passion, and they do it out of a service. Because it's a lot of devoting. It's a devotion, and it's just being committed to put the hours that it takes.
Yeah, definitely. So is it the idea behind this to make this an annual thing, or how often do you think you guys are going to do this?
We're going to do it annually.
Annually?
So,
Okay.
yeah, around the time of November, that's when we're going to have our galas.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what else does this organization do besides that? You guys do events and promoting the culture at different events, or what else do you do with this? Yeah.
So the most noticing part is our pageant, for sure. We have 4 different queens, and we have a Mr. Guatemala as well.
Okay.
So they attend to community events throughout the year. I had the honor to be Mr. Guatemala 2022-2023.
Oh, really? So you're already repping.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
Congrats.
was. Thank you. I remember attending to around 45 community events throughout the year.
Okay.
I just doing some local support to local businesses on social media as well. And so that's how we are noticed, because we attend to these events.
Sure.
To show our support with the people from Ecuador, from Colombia, from other parts of Latin America, Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras. So we are always not only saying come to our events, we are always there for them as well to show our support.
Yeah. So what are the requirements for the pageant? Like, do they have to be full from Guatemala, or can a person be like, let's say my parents are half or something? Like, what are the requirements to participate?
Yeah, the requirements is to be Guatemala born or have heritage from Guatemala.
Okay.
At least one parent.
So I could say my great grandparent was from Guatemala, and I could participate.
I think it's just your parents.
Oh, just the parents.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the loophole here.
I know, no. We are very fortunate to have a lot of individuals that want to represent Guatemala with the crown of Miss Guatemala, Oklahoma. So it's also, we look at their background, we look at the history that they have doing community service. It's not about just the beauty, but also being involved and giving back to your community.
Got it. Are there age requirements? Or
Definitely.
There are? Okay.
Yes, there are age requirements. We have Niña Monja Blanca. We have Señorita Independencia, Señora Guatemala, and Miss Guatemala, Oklahoma.
Okay, so there's different categories for the different age groups.
That is correct. Okay. Niña Guatemala, I think she has to be from 7 to 12 years old. Señorita Independencia must be between the ages of 15 and 17. And then Miss Guatemala can be from 18 to 24. Okay. I believe. And then Miss, Señora or Mrs. Oklahoma or Lady Guatemala, Oklahoma needs to be married, divorced, or widow.
I see.
To be able to do that.
Okay. So then what are the incentives to want to do this? Does a person just have to be passionate to want to represent Guatemala? Or like, do they get like a scholarship, or, you know, what are sort of the things that I would get if I participated in this pageant?
I have to be clear. We don't get paid for it. Yeah. It's just a community service.
Definitely.
It's a volunteering thing. A lot of people think that this is our job, or we make a living because of what we do, but we don't do that. I will say the recognition, building your platform, not only locally but also nationwide. We've gotten the opportunity to go to other states with Eterna Primavera, which is our dancing group, and you just grow your network. Yeah. That's what it does to you.
So it's important that they're also passionate about serving the community.
Definitely.
And being a great representative of Guatemala. Right?
Definitely. Yeah. That's what will get you there. And it opens a lot of doors for you, believe me. I can tell you that now that I don't have the sash anymore, I still get the recognition and was able to build so many bridges that they're still there.
Yeah, imagine that network that you get to build, and everybody's supportive and they know you right after that.
Right.
So that's a great thing.
So that's I will say your biggest reward, just your network, and also the personal satisfaction of knowing that you served your community out of heart.
Were you familiar with the pageants, or did you kind of just learn as you got involved with this organization?
I just kind of learned as we went. We were getting into it because I didn't have any idea how it worked. No, they just told me this is the dress code. This is the address and the time they're supposed to be there, and I just showed up.
Do they sort of provide training of like public speaking? How do you walk, on the runway? How do you sort of carry yourself? Do you guys provide that training for them?
They do provide that, but most of the time you already know how to do it.
Got it.
Because in order, I will say, to be doing community service, one, you probably are okay with speaking in public.
True.
And two, you are already doing something to give back to your community.
Yeah. So if I ask you, I put you on the spot, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from being Mr. Guatemala? What was it?
Be on time.
Be on time. Yeah. Especially so many commitments. Right?
Yes, definitely. So many commitments. And also, I will say, be pretty organized with your schedule, your agenda, because, man, we got invitations to attend so many events, so many, even 5 in a week. I remember I remember it was a pretty busy year for us.
So at that point, do you sort of have to balance who do you say yes to, who do you say no to? Oftentimes you can't be in two places at the same time, right?
And believe it or not, we will do that.
Yeah?
We will go like an hour to each one.
Okay.
I think the most events I attended to in a day were 3.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. It was 1 in the morning, 1 after lunch, 1 at 5, and then we had 2 more at night, so it was 5. So it was a Saturday. We were basically up since like early in the morning and just event back to back all the way to like midnight.
That's a big dedication, big commitment, right?
Definitely.
So if people are thinking about doing it, they need to know that it takes dedication, it takes commitment to do this.
Yeah, and it is a requirement as well. If you decide to do this, you're required to attend a certain amount of events so that you're in fact honoring the crown that has been given to you and the sash as well.
Definitely. So is the pageant also an annual event, or are there multiple pageants throughout the year? How does that work?
The pageant is only once a year because you get to be in the representation of the title for one whole year. So we do it on September. That's when we have our pageants. And last September we were honored to have ex Miss Universe Guatemala Ivana Bachelor.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So we flew her from Guatemala all the way to Oklahoma. It was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's cool. You sort of got to be the tour guide for her, take her to all the places in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was the driver.
That's awesome. That's
So
very
it was
cool.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not only me, she had like 5 drivers.
Okay.
We would just take turns, and it was just a whole lot of logistics to make sure that she needed to be where she needed to be.
Yeah.
And that she was comfortable as well.
That's awesome. So what are your favorite traditions or, things about the Guatemalan culture? I'm familiar with a little bit, right? The marimba, the dress, the dances, but, what are some of your favorites? Maybe some foods, I don't know. You tell me.
I will say my favorite tradition will be Independence Day, just because my birthday is right the next day.
Oh, yeah? When is that?
September 16th.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
my birthday.
Cool.
But Independence Day is September 15th. The whole reason why I like it is because in my hometown, we will have our, how in Oklahoma we have our state fair?
Yeah.
So in Guatemala, it was not our state fair. It was nationwide, and it was Central America wide as well.
Oh, wow. So it's like a big event.
And it was,
Yeah.
well, guess what? In my hometown.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So we will have people from all over Central America.
Yeah.
And all the misses will come, like Miss El Salvador, Miss Honduras, Miss Costa Rica, Miss
Nice.
Panama, and Miss Guatemala. They will all be in Shela during these times on the floats.
Okay.
And so all the public and private schools will gather with their band, and we will have a big parade.
That's cool. What's the significance behind Chela? Why Chela? Is there a historic, connection there, or why does it happen there?
Yeah, well, that's how we call it because we love it. This is like a nickname. Shela is a nickname.
Okay.
But the formal name is Quetzaltenango.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put those two together.
I know. So it's located 4 hours away from the Mexican border.
Okay.
It's just on the south west part of the country, and it's just very cold. And the significance, we used to have a lot of quetzals, which is a national bird for our country, and that's where the name of Quetzaltenango comes from.
Got it. I was going to say, because if you ask a Mexican, a chela is like a slang for a beer.
Oh, yeah.
So they might get confused if hey, let's go to chela.
I know.
Right?
So I know a lot of people get it confused, but the spelling of it's Xela.
Okay, cool.
So, unless you're from Chihuahua, then you will
Right.
pronounce it like chela.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. So what are some of the goals of the organization, or even you personally, that you have set out, for the next year?
Well, personally, I want to grow my brand. I want to be able to open a couple of other boutiques in the United States. So we're going to be expanding pretty soon to the northeast and also the southwest of the United States, and be able to just grow the brand. We will hit our 1 year anniversary in March. So that'll probably be a great
Gonna throw a
great
party.
way, a great way to open our other Alpha displays at two boutiques.
Do you work with influencers or anybody to promote your brand, or is it just organic?
I just do it organic, and I reach out to talent here in Oklahoma that are willing to model for the brand, and so we create content in Oklahoma, and we just promote it on social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have specific social media for AlphaTraje, or is it
Yeah. Definitely. Our social media, we are on Instagram as AlphaTraje. It's ALPHA Traje, TRAGE, or JE. And it's the same on TikTok and the same on Facebook. So AlphaTraje, if you guys want to go ahead and follow us.
Hit them up, yeah.
Yeah. We cater from sizes on shirts from small all the way to 2XL. So
Yeah, that's
we
cool. I
got you.
also like the meaning behind it, and also the giving back portion, right? One of my favorite brands is Siegelman Stable. They do something similar where if you buy a hat or a shirt from them, they donate to equestrian therapy. So kids that want to, get therapy with horses, and they give back, which I thought that was kind of cool. So I think a lot of brands are doing that, where it's more than just a brand. It's like trying to promote something good in the world, which I think is cool, right?
Definitely. And it all is born on a sense of giving back and also serving the community.
Awesome. One of the questions I always ask my guests, if I pull up your playlist, who am I going to find on your playlist?
Oh, my God.
It's a safe space. Nobody's watching, so you can tell me.
All right.
Yeah.
You'll probably find Ana Gabriela a lot.
Really? Did you go to the concert when she came here?
Yeah, don't tell no one, though.
I was there too. I knew all the songs. I was crying.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was a good experience.
Yeah. She still got it.
Man. Yeah, hopefully she comes again.
Yeah. Who else?
I doubt it.
I don't know. She was impressed. She was like, Oklahoma. She was impressed that many people showed up.
She was. She was. Who else? Maybe, man, I will say probably Danilo Montero. He's a Christian singer.
Okay.
I like his music a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I also met him in person a couple of times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about on the English side? Did anything rub off from being in Oklahoma? Any country or anything like that?
No, I'm not into country at all.
No. Okay.
No. The music is okay. I just don't like it. But I'll probably say I like a couple of songs of Adele.
Okay.
She sings really good.
So you like more of the romantic, more of the get to the heart type of songs, huh?
Yeah, those songs. Those songs are really good.
That's cool. So for the viewers out there, maybe they're thinking they want to be an entrepreneur, they want to start a business. What type of advice would you give them?
Have a plan, set goals, and write it down. Don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The only way you're not going to get overwhelmed is by having a plan, a written plan, and a mission board that will have your guidelines and what date you want to hit what. But get a pencil and just start writing things down. And that's the way to success.
What was the biggest challenge of, starting AlphaTraje? Was there ever a point, or maybe some people that told you, hey, you're crazy, why do you want to do this? Or did you have everybody believe in you from day one?
I will say my wife was the one that believed in me since day one.
Awesome.
She said I can do it. And so the biggest challenge I faced was probably not finding a supplier so much. Just having a hard time doing that. But just keep researching. Just keep your research going until you find what you want. But yeah, that was my biggest challenge. I'm believing on me was my wife. She again is my number one supporter. She was the one that will just cheer me up when I thought I wanted to give up.
Does she ever say, hey, maybe you should do something for the women out there too? Does she ever try to push you for that? Or does she get that AlphaTraje is kind of like meant to be for men?
She gets the AlphaTraje is meant to be for men only.
Okay.
But maybe in the future we'll do something for women.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's cool. So what do you think about Guatemala current state? You mentioned growing up, you had to come to the U.S. because there was some stuff going on there. What is it like now? I've never visited, so maybe give me some pointers. If somebody's never been, where should they go? What type of political environment do they have? That sort of thing.
Well, it's tough, man. I don't know why you asked that question.
That's okay.
But Guatemala, unfortunately, is going through a really hard political crisis. It all has to do with the people that do not want to let go of power. People that want to just keep making money with a corrupt system. We just had an election actually back in June, I think it was back in June. And well, the president that got elected, I think he's going to do good things. We all hope that he keeps his word and that he really fights against corruption because a lot of children are just dying. A lot of children are going to really rough times. And I want to see the country of the eternal spring. That's how we call it. And so I wanted to be a safe country as well. Economically, we are okay. Our currency is pretty stable. But it is all thanks to the money that's being sent back home, and also a lot of entrepreneurs in Guatemala that just live on day-to-day basis on what the money that they make every day.
Yeah.
But we just hope for the best, and we hope that the sitting government that's gonna take on January 14th does a great job for its people.
Do you get to visit often? Do you go back and forth often, or how long has it been since you visited?
I don't want to go back.
You don't want to go back?
No.
Okay.
It just brings bad memories.
Yeah.
And so it's painful.
Definitely.
I don't want to live that pain again.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that you're sort of, building a community here and keeping those traditions alive here. So congratulations on that. That's really cool.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it is, again, a pleasure, and it is an honor to be able to represent your country, your culture everywhere you go, and now through the clothing. So,
Yeah. I want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Definitely.
But before we, sign off, I want to give you space to plug in your socials. Where can people find you? Most importantly, if people want to get involved with everything that's going on here in Oklahoma with the Guatemalan organization, where can they find them?
Definitely. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook as Cesar Reyes, Cesar. My last name is Reyes. I'm Facebook verified.
Awesome. I like it.
So you'll find me there. And
Cool.
on Instagram, I am CEO _ Cesar Reyes.
Okay.
So again, you guys can find our social media for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as AlphaTraje. And remember, AlphaTraje is outfit for first in class and first in position.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is your house. Anytime you want to come back, if you have an event that you want to promote or whatever, or just sit down to talk, you're always welcome on the Maverick Podcast.
Perfect. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Cesar Reyes on the Maverick Podcast. Keep grinding, because in dreams we trust.